The devotee started pleading with him, saying, I will not collect these stories any longer. Maharaj cried, Jao, Jao, go and bring those things you have been collected. The devotee's home was 40 miles away, but he went at once and came back that evening. Maharajji took those papers and said, tear them up, go and put them into the fire. That was Baba's way. He wanted to keep the mystery. He did not want to have beads or matted hair or the glimmer of a halo about him. A friend came one morning and told me that he was having a housewarming ceremony that evening. His revered Guru Sri Devariya Baba would grace the celebration by his presence. Many disciples, mostly sadhus, would also be coming, and the friend wanted me to help with the reception. I told him that Babaji would be returning to our house and I could not be away. Baba had left for Benares the day before and was expected back any time in the afternoon. My friend said that if Babaji arrived, someone from the house could come and fetch me. So I had to agree. I went and waited for Devariya Baba. I felt very uneasy, fearing that Babaji would return and I would not be there. Finally, Devariya Baba came with many sadhus and disciples, and when they were seated, I slipped away without informing anybody. Within half an hour after I returned, Babaji arrived. The next morning, Tularam, Siddhi Didi, and myself were sitting with Babaji. He asked me if I had met Devariya Baba. When I said I had, he asked, Did you talk to him? No, I didn't. Why? Why didn't you talk to him? I told him there was a big rush and I could not get my chance. Then he yelled out, Why did you not take my name? He would have given you darshan immediately. I kept quiet, but he would not stop without a reply. He began pulling my ear and repeatedly asked, Why didn't you take my name? Then out of my mouth came, One Baba is enough for me. Tularam shouted in joy. Babaji patted me on the head and said, it's all right. The matter ended there. One early morning in 1961, a devotee came and gave us two small pictures of Babaji. He had come from Lucknow and said Shukla had sent them, one for Didi and one for me. Babaji's pictures were precious, but I could not understand why Shukla had said it was necessary to have it always with me. I had neither a purse nor did I always have a shirt with a pocket. What should I do with it? So Didi took it. A few months later, Shukla came. He told us that he had met Babaji at Lucknow some days before, and Babaji had asked, You sent a picture to Dada to be kept with him. What use has he got for that? I told Shukla that I had not seen Babaji since receiving the picture, nor had I talked to anyone about it. All Shukla could say was, He comes to know on his own. No one has to tell him anything. Maharajji recited the mantra Ram Ram all the time, 24 hours a day. Whenever he wanted to write something, he would write Ram Ram, whether on paper or in a book. If he was to send a letter to someone, he would write Ram Ram, saying that was his letter. Only once in later years, when I had to apply for a grant for land for the temple at Rishikesh, did he sign his name. It was in September 1961 that I came to my desk to take out a book that I had been reading the night before. I shrieked and called to the others to come see the miracle. Ram Ram was written on the whole cover and a few pages inside. It was all in Babaji's handwriting, which we had come to know by that time. I told them that the night before, when I had left the book, nothing was written on it. Didi said, What? Didi said, What do you mean last night? Only 20 minutes ago I arranged the table and there was nothing on the book. Then she took the book from my hand and opened it. Two more pages of Ram Ram were there. The ink had fully dried and we felt that perhaps we had disturbed Baba while he was working. By no stretch of the imagination could we find any clues to this mystery. I wrote to Tularam about it. Being a close devotee of Babaji and spending so much time in his company, I thought perhaps he had some understanding which I lacked. We had become much attached to each other, and whenever we experienced anything new about Baba, we used to share it between us. He received my letter when he was with Babaji at Agra and asked him how it could happen. Babaji's answer was brief. Dada was remembering me, so I had to go. The mystery was solved. Some months after that, I was reading in my room after 11 o'clock at night. Suddenly, the gate opened with a clang and Babaji began shouting and abusing me. You teach me so much. I was 500 miles away, but I had to come because you were remembering me. Dada, I always come when you remember me. When Babaji came at the end of the year for the winter months, Tularam and Siddhi Didi were with him. Babaji did not mention anything about his writing Ram Ram, but Tularam talked much about it. He said such miracles were very trifling things for a sage like Babaji, and that only His Grace allowed us to see these things. He would always talk of Babaji as the greatest sage of the age. His friendship was very valuable in helping me to remove some of the cobwebs that were obstructing the proper working of my mind. The first winter camp of Babaji, as devotees used to call it, was unique in many respects. There were so many miracles that came in quick succession that even his old devotees were taken by surprise. Everyone agreed that never before had they had such an opportunity to spend so much time at his feet and to enjoy his grace for months together. The blissful smile with which he greeted us, his sweet and charming company, the free and intimate atmosphere of the family sitting together could never have been imagined before. This was, of course, before the Kanchi and Vrindavan ashrams were built, but these winter camps continued even after the ashrams came. The winter camp came to be an annual festival for us. The devotees gathered in a festive mood, free from all worries. I was no longer merely a spectator but also a participant, sharing everything with the others, and these festivals at home were so entertaining and enjoyable that there was no question of going elsewhere. I lost all contact with old friends and the old social life. The whole process was so smooth and spontaneous that it was only much afterwards that I realized the change. Yet, in spite of the feeling of participation and the enjoyment of his unbounded grace, there was still something missing for me. My mind was full of questions. How are these things happening? What are they leading to? Why does Babaji go on performing these leelas? I could not get into the heart of the matter. Everything continued to be a great mystery. There were no such difficulties for many of the full-baked devotees whom I was meeting. They had recognized Baba as something divine, and these were his leelas. They had surrendered their doubts and questions, but I was far from it.